So I'm down here at Madeline's grave. It's a Cardo Cemetery. See if we can do something about this. Maybe not. Oh well. Continue the day Madeline died. So we left the next morning. I realized after I dropped Angie off that there was no going back. These people were going to kill me if they ever saw me again. And I didn't realize how much danger I was in until the danger was gone. And I was scared. I was more scared than I've ever been about anything in my life. So I left. I dropped Angie off. I don't know what I did that morning. You know, did Charlie and I get together? I don't know. I ended up, I went to back to Squim Bay Lodge and got a room for 2 nights. And I'd gone somewhere to, eat or something. And I'd realized that, Dell had come visit us at Squim Bay Lodge 3 or 4 times when Madeline and I lived there. And, I actually was surprised that when we drove away that morning on the 17th, I mean, they let us go. That Dell, he's going to kill me. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Dell was going to kill me that day Madeline died. I think they stopped him, but so that I'd gotten that hotel room for 2 nights, and I had gone. I was away, and I called the front desk, the manager Peter there, and I said, if anybody comes asking for me or calls for me, I'm not there. And he goes, yeah, no problem, man. I was freaked out, man. I thought Dell for sure was gonna come by, see if I said I'm afraid that these people are looking for me, and if they find out that I'm there, and he goes, no, I won't tell anybody that you're here. And so I said, okay. So I went back to the hotel, and I got in bed, and I hadn't slept in days. I hadn't slept in a bed in months. I slept on the floor next to Madeline on just a stupid air mattress. It sucked. Jump up 4 or 5 times a night, take care of her, go back to sleep. Anyway, and I'm laying there, and it's like, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm scared shitless. I'm afraid. I am so afraid that Rusty and Dell are gonna come barging through that door and kill me, take me out. I just am so. I've never been afraid like that in my life of anybody, anything. Nothing. I was just terrified that they were gonna come through that door. And there was a voice inside that said, "Get up. Go now." And when I'd laid down, I just kept all my stuff together, hadn't unpacked it all. Maybe plugged in my, iPhone, whatever, and that was it. And I just grabbed my stuff and I got out of there. Didn't stay there 2 nights. And I headed straight for Eugene, Oregon from there. And no, I didn't. I went to David's. From there, I went to my brother David's in Silverdale. And he doesn't understand what kind of shape I was in. They all think that I was grieving for Madeline, and I am, and I have been, but that's not why I ended up as a puddle in the floor of emergency room in Bremerton fucking hospital, Harrison Hospital. We'll get to that part of the story. So I head to David's, man, and I called him, and I'm going, SOS, man, I need. And Stacy's son had moved in, so he'd taken up that other bedroom, and they had another bedroom, which was their office. It truly was an office, had a desk, all that stuff, and that's where they put me for 2 nights. Kind of got the feeling I wasn't welcome. They didn't need this madman up there in that 3rd bedroom. But I did not feel safe on the 17th until I got into David's house and shut that bedroom door behind me, and I was still scared shitless that Dell and Rusty were going to come through that door. Oh, man, it was bad. It was bad. So, that's Monday. Tuesday, I'm at David's. Wednesday, I get up. I got to do something. And I find a place in East Bremerton that offers psychological help, and I go in there and I go through the sign-in process, and I get up there and, do you have insurance? Yes. Well, we can't help you. We're only for people that don't have insurance. This place, I got turned away. Man, that, I couldn't believe that. So I'm going from East Bremerton to, why did I go that way? I think for some reason I went back to Silverdale, and then I decided I was going to go to Harrison Hospital. So I went the other way around Silverdale Bay, or whatever, inlet that is, Dyes Inlet, whatever it is. And so I'm going up the east side of that, I guess. And when you come into Bremerton, there's an exit to the shipyard and the hospital, and you keep going, you're going to Gorst. And I missed the exit. I'm going to Gorst. I was in really, really bad shape. I get through Gorst. I pull into a coffee shop. I wanted to get a cup of coffee, man, just a flat, regular drip grind, medium roast cup of coffee. And I pull in this place. This chick, really beautiful girl, man, big, and she's in a bikini. And it was funny because I'm staring her right in the eyes. I'm not looking at that. I have no interest in that. And she couldn't believe it. She kept trying to move around and stuff, like get me to look at her. It was like, asking my question. I go, oh, can I get a cup of coffee? And go, no, we don't make that kind of coffee, real coffee. We just all that frou-frou shit. I'm like, God, man, can't even get a cup of coffee. And I turn around, head back to Harrison Hospital, and it was bad. I barely made it to the hospital. I pulled into emergency. The last half mile was, I was so distraught, and things were cascading, and all this shit was coming down on me, and the realizations of what I'd lived through and what I'd done. And I was so proud of myself that I had done what I promised to do that night, and that was take Madeline home, get her out from under all these people that were swindling her, take care of her. Thought I had more time. I thought we'd have 5 years or so, but, until the day she died, I got to do that. You look at my wedding pictures in my mind, I know what my future holds. I know that I'm going to walk Madeline. Hopefully I'm going to walk Madeline to her death. She doesn't walk me to mine. One of my prayers was that, I walked her to the end. She didn't walk me to the end. Oh, man, where were we? We were talking about Harrison Hospital. I get there. I just get out of my truck in the emergency right there at the door. I walk in. I say, I need help. The security guard goes, you have to go over there and check in. And I just said, I can't. I put my keys and my wallet on the counter and said, I can't, and went to the floor. And fucking Bremerton police starts walking up, and I just looked at him and said, I will not talk to Bremerton police. I'm on the thing going, I need help. I need to talk to somebody. I wasn't thinking clearly, and what I wanted was, I wanted to talk to a lady. I didn't want to talk to a man. I didn't want to have any guy code bullshit, between us. I wanted to talk to a young lady who was sympathetic, empathetic to caregivers, is what I wanted. And I went in and asked for that, and they think I'm looking to talk to some sweet young thing or something. It just, I didn't get myself across right. Oh man, they dragged me back into this room. It echoes. It has 4 walls, a ceiling, and a floor that echo, and a bed and a chair, and that's it. They take my clothes. I wish I hadn't let them do that. They didn't even take my clothes, but they took my clothes. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going, they go, okay, we'll let you talk to somebody if we can strap you down. And I'm going, there's no goddamn way you're going to strap me down in this bed. I ain't doing that, Give me my clothes back. I want out of here, and they wouldn't do that. Wouldn't give them back. I'm sitting in there, and, there's a camera up in the corner, and it's got a red beeping light. I'm being recorded, I'm sure. I'd like to see that recording someday. And, I still was scared shitless that they were going to come through that door. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone, And it's the episode where the guy is just out of his mind, going wild, saying this is going to happen. Everybody's going, yeah, 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 shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about, whatever. I mean, they're just like, and he's going, and I realized this about the sages. It took about that 3 days, man. I realized what happened. I realized that, I mean, I have thought this through forwards and backwards. I played devil's advocate. Mirsad Sarek, Miro, did not kill himself. He did not shoot himself in the chest. I was going through Madeline's paper. I came across the death certificate. I did not want to read it. I spent 11 years in the title insurance business. That was my job, was reading those documents. Here come, I look at this document and I see everything that's pertinent, name, date, time of death, and then looking at the cause of death, man, it was suicide, gunshot wound to the chest, and it's funny because I had 400 pleasant evenings with Madeline, and I never once had any inkling of going upstairs and offing myself, ever. It would be like me hearing that my dad committed suicide. It just, that is not, that's not reality. That's not the possibility. When I realized what had happened July 8th, 2013, that, that was the day Mirsad Sarek shot himself in the chest. God, I didn't want to read that document. I didn't want to see that. When Madeline first told me the story, it didn't sit well in my gut. The whole thing, he walked upstairs. I mean, he was wanting to go back to his, he had a limousine service out of SeaTac, one of those funky Buick cars or whatever they use, Regals. And that's what he did. And that's how he met Madeline. And he wanted to go back and do that. He didn't want to be up here in the woods on this property. That wasn't his thing, and she was going, okay, go. And, but she said that the day he died, man, he was telling her he loved her, just being, and, when the story that, he shot himself and within 10 seconds, Judy was there. Taking Madeline away is what Judy's job was. Dell went upstairs to check on Miro. He helped fucking Rusty get out the back door. He had to have helped stage the scene. Miro was naked. Madeline said he walked right upstairs, started gurgling. It was the last thing she heard after the gunshot. And, man, it hit me. When I started talking earlier about all this stuff cascading, and it hit me. It started cascading. All these things they did to him, Rusty, I mean, Mirsad Sarek was like a colonel in the Yugoslavian, whatever, Sarajevo Civil War back in 96, 95. He was a high-ranking officer. He was a Muslim. I didn't understand how they lost because they outnumbered them like 3-1 or 2-1, something like that. Anyway, that guy, that country would have been nothing but walking around death, dead animals, dead people, dead everything. I mean, it just would have been part of life. You get used to it after 21 days. So, Jesus, man, that would be a horrible thing to get used to. He was in a prisoner of war camp for 6 months. And I always found this amazing. The commandant or whatever of the camp was his best man at his wedding years before, and Madeline only told me a couple stories about that he told her, one of them being his brother. I guess his Latimer were there together, and there was some offer that if they become like, what do they call it, turnkeys or whatever, not the inmates that do the jobs and they're kind of more trusted, what do you call those guys anyway? But the connotation of it was Madeline was it would be sexual in some way, and Mirsad said no, told his brother no, we're not going to do that. And he was in there for 6 months. I don't know about his brother, but I guess his sister came up with the money and bought his freedom, and he came to America. But that guy did not walk upstairs and shoot himself in the chest. He'd seen death. If he'd wanted it over, it ain't gonna be a gunshot wound to the chest where you might live. You might have to suffer with that. There was no, what do you call it? Rosy picture of what taking his own life would take. He was killed. Rusty Sage. Madeline said that the police checked her hands for, gunshot residue, and she came up blank. I wonder if they checked Judy and Dell? Probably it wouldn't matter because they didn't shoot him. But I doubt they ever fucking checked Rusty. My biggest problem is I can't prove any of this, but I know it. I know deep down in my heart that those fucking people did that. He did not commit suicide. He was killed by Rusty Sage. And I think Anna, their daughter Anna, those people are so stupid. Okay, I haven't said this yet, but I've said it. I walked through Deliverance ×5 and I survived. I kicked their ass. That was so nice. I kicked their ass up one side and down the other. You can't take that from me. I put up with everything they had to throw at me, and I, chewed it up, spit it right back at them, not even knowing that I was doing so much damage to them. All right, we're on 16 and a half minutes, so we're going to cut this short in next episode.